So I'm hoping you all enjoy this reaction. I'm not sure how the audio sounds. It's nighttime by me. Outside is pretty loud. The mic, I have it on noise cancellation, but I think it might not be enough. So we're gonna check this out. Hopefully everything works well, so I could just go back on to this Rubber Soul Beatles album next time. I think that would be awesome. All right, let's just transition this. All right, so this is Ringo talks about how the Beatles didn't get along.
Those stories at the time. There's stories about almost everything.
Yeah, that's the
About
thing.
how you didn't get along. You had
No,
didn't
no,
like one another.
we didn't get along. We were four guys. We had rows. It never got in the way of the music, no matter how bad the row was. Once the counting, we all gave our best. And that was a little later, too, which I think is a natural thing. Suddenly we've got lives and I've got children, and, the effort that we put in, because we worked really hard, was starting to pale a little. And, we always thank Paul to this day. Because of Paul, who's the workaholic of our band, we made a lot more records than John and I would have made, say. We'd like to sit around a little more. And then Paul would call, all right, lads. And we'd go in. Yeah.
You've been in the wind for a long time, my friend.
Better than having wind.
Well, I can agree with that.
Yeah, I have. From 1960, when I left the factory, this is what I've done. Played, I've toured, made a few good records.
So Ringo was a part of the Beatles. No, Ringo used to work in a factory before. He said from the time that he's left the factory, that's what he's done from the 1960s. From 1960, he's just been a musician the entire time. So that is just interesting. That is interesting. Imagine how many years have gone by.
Made a few good
Yeah,
records. You know, and I know many people, particularly people who are at the top or who have been at the top, who lose their moorings.
They do.
They lose the authenticities. They don't know where they
Yeah.
come up to. You haven't done that.
Well, thanks. I hope not. I think it's all part of where we came from as well. But I always give credit that there was, we're talking about the Beatles now, four of us. I mean, I was in Rory Storm and the Hurricanes, but there were four of us, and we all from the same city, and we would look at each other. If one of us would be freaking out or being a big shot, three other people would go, "Excuse me," and that kept us. And it's interesting because the time we met Elvis, I really thought, how sad he's on his own. And he had all those people around, but he was on his own. I had three great mates. I'm well enough a bit here.
But you mentioned earlier you had a God-given gift.
Yeah, time.
How much of it is a God-given gift, and how much of it is all those hours you spent practicing?
I didn't. I hate practicing. I hate sitting there. I tried it when I first got the kit upstairs in the back room, all those movies that were made. And it was the most boring thing ever. I did all my learning with other musicians, other bands. I was lucky because there were a lot of us around, and we weren't all great players. We were all learning, so I learned everything with everyone else at that time.
This is in Liverpool.
In Liverpool, yeah. But I was lucky in the factory. The guy who lived next door to me in the street worked in the factory. And he was Eddie Miles, a great guitarist. He's just one of those guys, picked it up, can play anything, And my best friend, Roy, made a tea-chest bass, and I had a snare drum and brushes, and we used to play to the men at lunchtime in the basement. And that's how I started. And now I'm talking to you.
You mentioned taking risks.
Yeah.
That we take risk in life. It's no good looking back and saying, might have, could have, should have taken
Yeah,
this road or that road.
Gone.
But you took a big risk. You were playing with the Hurricanes,
I was.
and you got a chance to go with this Beatles group.
Yeah, I know.
But the Hurricanes were bigger at the moment.
They were, but I loved.
Okay, so I did not know he played. He played for the Hurricanes. I don't know the Hurricanes, but what they're saying right now is that the Hurricanes were this big shot on campus kind of group, and yeah. So he switched basically. He used to play with the Hurricanes, and then he wanted to go with the Beatles. That's I wow. The more you learn.
From Germany, where we met, really. We were playing Rory and the Hurricanes, and the Beatles were playing the same. Different clubs than the guy Koshmid, who owned both of them, put us on the same club. And I loved John, Paul, and George. I just loved that front line. And, we would do at the weekend 12 hours between us. And I'd be there for the last gig, just sitting there watching the front line, requesting songs. Yeah, so then they asked, and I had no hesitation, really, but people did say, "Are you going to leave Rory?" And I said, yeah, I'm going to leave. You just make her step up.
I'm interested to know why that was. You liked the group.
I did. I
You
loved
liked
her.
the music.
Yeah, they were great players. They were Rory was a showman, and we were players, and we had a guitarist called Johnny Guitar who was great, but that was about it, really. But we were big in Liverpool, and I just loved them. So, the thing Brian called it was a Wednesday. He said, "Would you join the band?" I said, "Sure." I said, "When?" He said, "Oh, tonight." I said, "No, I can come Saturday because they've got to get another drummer." Because, we're all playing the same songs.
Well, let's go back for a minute. Even before the Hurricanes, you heard Lightning Hopkins, you heard
Ernest
Ernest
Tubb,
Tubb, you heard
Hank Williams.
Hank Williams, all of those. Did you hear other drummers? For example, Gene Krupa was a big drummer.
I went to see, I think it was the Glenn Miller story. Gene Krupa was actually in it. Yeah. But people always ask me, "Oh, what about those drummers and those records?" I never listened to the drummer. I listened to the whole thing. There was an Al Green track called "I'm a Ram," and the guy hit the hi-hat, boom, boom, boom. Psst. It's like magic to me. And I remember I remember those moments. We're sitting with Klaus Bormann in this apartment we have in London, and so that did. But Al Jackson, yes, I know the names, and they played on great records. But it wasn't like I was listening for the drums.
Well, looking back over your career, you've had it all. You've had a great solo career, still touring with your own band in which you put the band forward. I was there last night when you performed, and frankly, a little surprising, but very impressive. You don't put yourself forward. You put the band forward, the whole band.
I love to be in a band. I'm a band guy.
You're a band guy. Now, and a drummer. Now, help me remember, I'm not a musician.
Yeah.
But do you think of yourself as a sideman, or is the drummer in a special category? You have the star, the centerpiece.
Well, because of the Beatles and that, I am the guy. It's Ringo and the All-Stars.
Right.
But I play with all these other guys. They play for me. And it sort of worked out since 1980. Now, it'll be 30 years I've been doing this part of my life. Next year, when I put the first Ringo and the All-Stars band together, which came about, how crazy, some guy, promoter, Pepsi had got to him and say, we'd like Ringo to do a tour, that we'll support him. Who got to my lawyer, who called me out of the blue. And I thought, yeah, okay. And I phoned, it was quite a big band because I just opened in those days the phone book and called all these Dr. John, Joe Walsh, Billy Preston, Clarence. I thought that'd be good. I'd big Clarence to bump up against. and Nils and Levon. I was so insecure, though I'd said yes. There were three drummers. I was in the middle. Jim Keltler, my hero from LA drummer, was on this side, and Levon Helm was on this side. And we were just all boogieing away. It's very good.
But you said you were insecure. But
I was. I never put a band together. I've always been in bands, joined bands. The only time I put a band together was like 19, make life easy, 58, and I was trying to put this band together and I heard about this trumpet player. And I said, oh man, come down, we'll have a rehearsal. And the trumpet player did play trumpet, but the only thing he could play was when the Saints go marching in. So that band fell apart really quick. So, it's good. Life is good.
That was cute. That was good. All right. So I learned quite a lot. It's very interesting. I really like Ringo's personality. He just seems like such a chill guy. Um, just very chill. Like, I wonder when. Let me see if I could see a date on when they did this. I saw this on AXS TV 1 year ago. How old is this guy today? Let me check. How old is Ringo? Ringo! Ringo. Wow. Sir Richard Starkey, known professionally as Ringo Starr, is an English musician and actor who achieved international fame as the drummer for the Beatles. Starr occasionally sang lead vocals with the group, usually for one song on each album, including Yellow, Submarine, and With a Little Help from My Friends. Ringo is 85? Oh, wow. Ringo is 85? What? Ringo married Barbara Bach, 1981, and then married Maureen Starkey Tigrat, 1960. No, that was before. Maureen was 1965 to 1975. Barbara Bach is from 1981. Woo, girl. And homegirl is 78 years old. She's still living and such a legendary. I cannot believe Ringo is. Wow, Ringo is 85 years old. Ringo had three children. Jason Starkey. Uh huh. Was born in Queen Charlotte's Hospital in Hammersmith, London. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. He's 58. Wait, was he passed away? Oh man. Wow. Okay. Lee Starkey, 54. Wow. Just reading up some information about their children. So, how old is Paul McCartney? If Ringo is 85, how old is Paul McCartney? How old is Paul McCartney? Based on Ringo's interview, uh I felt like Paul really, really helped those guys with coming together, being together, and also just working together as a team. Ringo said it himself. It's quite interesting to see though, learning a little bit about Paul, Ringo, John, George. Okay, so Sir James Paul McCartney is 83. Whoa, 83 years old. Or 83 years young, whichever one you want to say. Alright. Well, he had a lot of kids. One, two, three, four, five. He had five kids. Anyway, so that's my basic interview. That it was for testing purposes. I hope the audio is well. Right. Unfortunately, no one came on, but that's cool. Just hope y'all enjoy this little video. Nothing special. All right. I'm gonna give you all a time. I want to try and finish out Rubber Soul this week, so I'm gonna ask y'all for a better time to kind of like finish this album if this audio and everything plays out well. Thank you. I'll see y'all next time.